Downcurrents, they're the most feared environmental hazard in recreational diving and often the most misunderstood. Having taught in some of the world's top current diving hotspots, we've seen firsthand how a downcurrent can induce panic in even the most experienced of divers. So today, we're breaking down the silent indicators you need to spot and the 5 crucial steps you should take if you ever find yourself caught in a downcurrent. Your first line of defense is avoidance. This kind of diving is not about being strong enough to fight the current. It's all about learning to read the warning signs before it's too late. And luckily, there are a few ways you can identify a downcurrent before finding yourself inside one. Firstly, stay behind and pay close attention to your guide. This isn't just about navigating the site or being shown the best marine life. The divers in front of you are your ultimate cheat code to predicting the currents before they happen. Pay attention to their body position. If your guide is drifting along the reef but facing at an upward angle, it means the current is running down the wall. And they're angling their body to counter the flow. Mimic their position. By angling yourself up, you're ready to kick against the current before it gains momentum. Next, pay attention to the bubbles. As we all know, bubbles should normally rise upwards. If you see your bubbles or the bubbles of the divers ahead of you flying ahead, swirling, or moving straight down, it means they are in a vertical flow. You may also notice the bubbles being dispersed into smaller pieces and creating a glittery, fizzing effect. And if you see them being taken out and into the blue and downwards, this is your sign to be extra vigilant and stay close to the reef. More on that later. As you drift, always pay attention to how the fish are behaving. If you're noticing ahead that the reef fish are all facing up the reef, it's one of the best indicators that they're in a section of downward flowing water. Also note the size and the species. Small fish will always be affected more. But if you see larger pelagics like barracuda and jackfish in the blue, all facing up or flying sideways, you know they're in a pretty gnarly current. Avoid the temptation to swim out to them for a photo. Now, we know what you're thinking. It's all well and good being able to identify the current's speed and direction. This works for a manageable current, but what happens if I find myself sucked into a violent vortex? You'll feel the pressure in your ears and notice your reference points getting further away. You see the bubbles swirling and the other divers around you are flailing in a frenzy. How do you ensure you make it back to the surface with a story to tell? We're going to break it down now into 5 steps that could save your life. And after that, we'll tell you about surviving the #1 most dangerous downcurrent scenario we hope you never find yourselves in. The first and most crucial step to exiting a downcurrent safely is not to panic. Panic increases air consumption, adrenaline, and erratic and dangerous behaviour, which in itself can be fatal. Keep calm, focus, and begin your escape in step 2, which is to stop the descent. If you're being dragged downwards, you will become increasingly negatively buoyant. You must counter this not by swimming directly up, because swimming directly against a downwelling is like swimming upstream in a river. You'll be exhausted quickly and drain your air. Instead, kick at an upwards 45-degree angle. Your aim is to move across and out of the flow, navigating into the shadow of the reef, where the current is weakest and you can make your ascent. Think of a downcurrent like an underwater waterfall. If you stand directly under it, you're crushed. If you stand behind it, against the wall, you're safe. If you can get as close to the reef wall as possible, you'll find that this is where the friction of the reef slows the water down. Next, you must grab onto something solid if you can, then check your air and your depth. In a crisis, you must know how much time you have left to execute your escape. Now, you must kick yourself up the reef whilst attempting to exit the worst of the downward flow. But what happens if the current is so strong that you're still not able to ascend, or worse, still descending? Yes, this can happen in high current environments. Your instinct might be to inflate your BCD to buoyantly ascend, but this could actually be one of the most dangerous things you could do. This is the slingshot trap. Because as you exit the current, you could induce a slingshot effect, which could result in an uncontrolled rapid ascent. Instead, This is when being close to the reef matters even more. Your only option left may be to climb up the reef. It goes against conservation instincts, but in a survival situation, your life must be the priority. Remain calm, breathe slowly, and gradually pull yourself up to safety. Now, there is an even more dangerous scenario that can happen, which is being swept away from the reef into a blue water downcurrent. Without a reference point, your bubbles might move downward and your senses will lie to you. So, if you have no reef to hold or climb up, in this situation, you must use your BCD by adding small, controlled bursts of air while, again, kicking at an upward 45-degree angle. Since you have no reference point, you'll need to monitor your computer closely so that you can be sure you're ascending. And as you exit the current, you'll suddenly become positively buoyant. You must be ready to use your dump valves instantly to avoid a runaway ascent. This is how you survive a blue water downcurrent. The goal of this video is not to terrify you, it's to empower you. Diving in currents provides some of the most spectacular marine experiences on the planet. Don't avoid it, just arrive prepared. And never agree to any dive that feels too far out of your comfort zone or ability level. Now, we challenge you to re-watch the footage with a newfound critical eye. Notice our body positions and those of other divers, or watch the bubbles and the fish and tell us if this video helped.